Whatever problems you have, whatever your misery is, are you ready to get rid of it? Okay, good. So how many of you know the story of the little engine that could? Read it to your grandkids maybe? Yeah. So it's about this little engine in the railway yard, and a big, long freight train was in there. And it needed to go up this mountain over the other side to its destination. And the big, long freight train asked all the big engines that haul the heavy loads if it would bring them up the mountain. And they said, oh, no, you're way too long. You're way too big. It's impossible to get you up that mountain. And so in desperation, the long freight train asked the little shift engine, the little engine that just kind of moves the cars around in the railway yard. It's not built to haul anything. And the little engine said, I think I can. And so they hooked the little engine up to the long freight train, and it started up the mountain. And all the way up, what was it saying? I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And it did. It got to the top of the mountain, down the other side to the destination. It overcame what all the others said was impossible. And that story, written in 1930, I think, is such a demonstration of the power within us and how we use our energy. Today's talk is the power of beliefs. So the universe and everything in it is made of energy. We've talked about this a lot. Now, we may think we get our energy from the sun, from the power plants, from the food we eat, but really hear this. They are only the forms the energy has been changed into. Light, heat, electricity, sound are simply transformed energy. And guess what? So are we. So are we. We think we're solid. We're not. Nothing is solid. Quantum physics has proven beyond doubt that the physical world is one large sea of energy that flashes in and out of being in milliseconds, over and over again. Quantum physics has proven that thoughts are what put and hold together this ever-changing energy field into the objects we see. Are you wrapping your head around this? Here's what it means. It means that our thoughts and our beliefs determine what the energy forms. That's the power we have within us. We actually shift the universe particle by particle to create our physical life. If you've taken Prosperity Plus here, this is the whole theory of the Prosperity Plus classes. Dan, would you put that up? We have the power to transform energy from one plane to another. Leave that there for a little bit. So, you may have come in here this morning feeling like those large engines, that you've got a mountain of problems before you, or one big mountain of a problem, and you believe you don't have the power within you to overcome it, to overcome them. So like the little engine, you're going to change your thinking. You're going to change your belief from, I can't, to, I think I can. That should have been the name of the talk, maybe. I think I can. God is spirit. We are spirit, with power within us to climb any mountain, to move any stone away. How many of you know the book Illusions by Richard Bach? How many of you read that? One of my favorite books. We have a quote from Richard Bach. You were never given a wish without the power to make it come true. Believe that. Before May 6, back to the placeholder, Dan. Before May 6, 1954, No one had ever run a 4-minute mile. The world believed it was physically impossible, that the human body wasn't capable of it, that the lungs would actually explode and you would die if you ran that fast. That was the belief of the world. And because of it, because of this belief, hundreds of athletes for decades failed to break this barrier. Until May 6, 1954, when Roger Bannister ran what they call the Miracle Mile in 3.59.4 minutes. He didn't only break the world record that day, he broke the limiting belief in the minds of hundreds of athletes that the 4-minute mile was possible. And you know what? Today it's commonplace. In fact, the world holder, the current world record, is 3.43.13 minutes. Maybe someday there'll be a 3-minute mile. I believe it. So, what is our body made of? Nerves, muscles, bones, cells. And what are cells made of? Molecules. And what are molecules made of? Atoms. And atoms are made of some atomical particles that are made of what? Energy. So if you don't believe your energy, just look at it scientifically. That's what we're made of. You and I are pure energy. And that energy is constantly changing. We control that energy with our beliefs. This is why Unity is here. The co-founder of Unity, Myrtle Fillmore, was supposed to die in 6 months at 40 years old. No one could heal her. She lived another 41 years through the power of her mind. By using her thoughts, by changing her thoughts, she healed her body. Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile because he believed he could. I'm totally going off my talk because this just popped into my head. I told this story years ago about 2 young boys who were ice skating with a group, and the brother of one of them skated off to thin ice and fell in. And all the other kids ran away. But the younger brother found a stick, went over there, and actually saved his brother. And when the rescue people got there, they said, "How did you do that? Do you know that that's not possible, that you could have fallen in there, you couldn't do that?" He said, "Nobody told me I couldn't." You know, he didn't have the belief that it wasn't possible. Athletes who visualize running their event in their mind actually experience the same muscles firing as if they were running. The brain doesn't know the difference. You have the power inside of you to create a life of peace, of joy, to create health, to have healthy finances. You have the power within you for whatever you desire. If you don't like the way your life is showing up, your relationships, your job, your health, your finances, choose to see life and others differently than you do now. Do you hear that? If you don't like the way what's happening out here looks, choose to see it differently. Change your beliefs and your expectations about how the world and how others should be. If I want to be miserable, all I need to do is expect my family, my friends, my co-workers to act, speak, and look the way I believe they should. Right? How's that working out for you? If I want to be happy, all I need to do is change my belief that others need to be different than they are for me to be happy. We have this book in Unity. It's called The Revealing Word. Our Tuesday morning class is getting to know it. And it takes words and it metaphysically tells you what they are. And it's written by the co-founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore. And here's what he has to say on power. The mind and body of man have power to transform energy from one plane of consciousness to another. Spiritual power, energy inside us, is released in our body by spiritualizing our consciousness. What does that mean, to spiritualize our consciousness? It means we have to get quiet. We have to get still. For some of us, it's prayer. For some of us, it's meditation. For some of us, it's just being quiet so that we connect to that energy. For some of us, it's walking on the beach. Whatever it takes to connect to that energy. He goes on to say, this divine energy, listen to this, this divine, now, Fillmore lived from 1854 to 1929. Okay. Quantum physics started much later than that. This divine energy will surge through us as we erase negative thoughts from consciousness and become one with God mind, one with that energy, one with what is. And in Unity, we have a tools that we use. We call them denials and affirmations, and we're going to have some at the end of the talk for you. Does anybody know what a quark is? Q-U-A-R-K. It's part of the. It's smaller than the atom. It's much smaller, and this was written in 1998. By the very act of watching, the observer affects the observed reality. By the very act of watching, the observer affects the observed reality. Fillmore was saying this stuff way before it was discovered. We have this wisdom in us to connect with this information. Quarks were not discovered until 1968. I remember when that was. It was a big deal. What, you mean I can't see this thing unless I give it my attention? Unless I look for it, I can't see it. Unless I look for good, I'm not going to see it. Look for problems. Look for something to worry about. And you know what? You're going to find mountains of it. So I'm doing this talk series. It's kind of scattered, but it's in there. On what we call the 12 powers. And our Tuesday morning class is going along with this. It's called the 12 spiritual gifts. These are gifts. These are powers that are implanted in us. We're born with them. They're part of who we are. And they're there for us to draw on and build our consciousness with, to bring spiritual awareness into our conscious mind. We have a definition for spiritual power. You have that, Dan? Spiritual power is our ability to change and build consciousness. When I get this, when I realize it, when I accept it at a really deep level, the divine energy that I am actually rearranges itself to form into the outer manifestation according to my new inner realization. That's a lot. But what we're doing is these thoughts I have, these beliefs I have created the way I look today. And they have created the way my life looks today. So by changing my thinking, by changing my beliefs, I can start to rearrange the cells in my body. I can heal. And I can change the way my life is showing up. But first, I have to get rid of all that negative thinking. Right? That thinking, it's ingrained in us. Those beliefs are handed down to us from our parents. How many beliefs? Can you think of the beliefs you got from your parents? And where did they get it from? From their parents, whose parents handed it down to them. From the culture, the society we grow up in, from the TV, to all the media. These beliefs are just being poured at us all the time. And they're very limited. And there's one belief that a lot of us hold, and that it's hard to change my thought patterns. Because you're probably listening to me thinking, oh yeah, that sounds great, but how do I do it? How do I change this thinking that I've had for years? It's been in our family for years. They're not hard to change. The truth is you can change them. The real truth is, you may not even know this, you don't want to. Because you know why? They're familiar. We get used to our misery. It's comfortable in a way. It's a lot harder to try to change it. So, this morning, right now, what belief are you holding that's creating misery in your life? What belief are you holding that's creating your misery? And how long have you been holding it? How familiar is it? And are you ready to release it? Because only you can. Our beliefs shape and form the conditions of our life, but not just our life. The lives of those around us. The lives of those we live with, work with. Whatever thoughts and beliefs you hold about someone that you want to behave differently. You got anybody in your life you want to behave differently? Whatever thoughts you hold about them, they will not act differently until you change your belief about them. You think it's all about them, right? It's all about me. It's all about me. So if I've got somebody in my life and I'm finding all this fault with them, they're going to just keep showing up like that. They can't help it. We're energy. They're getting that energy from me. Watch your beliefs. Watch your thoughts. Choose your words carefully, because you are building your life and the life of others through the power you give your beliefs. Choose compassion over impatience. Choose kindness over anger. Choose understanding over being right. Divine energy becomes anything we believe. When Morris Goodman was 35 years old, he was soloing a plane, and upon attempting to land, it crashed. He was paralyzed, his neck broken, his spinal cord crushed, every major muscle destroyed. He was unable to move, swallow, talk, or breathe without a respirator. All he could do was blink his eyes. The doctor said his injuries were too severe for him to survive. If he did, he'd never walk again, and he'd never breathe without a respirator. But Morris's mind was intact. And every day, he relentlessly visualized himself walking out of the hospital. He never allowed a thought to enter his head that deferred from that goal. He never had any negative thoughts. He kept his focus on that goal. And 8 months later, he walked out of the hospital. And the doctors couldn't explain it. They called him the Miracle Man. So we've got the Miracle Mile and we've got the Miracle Man this morning. And today he is a highly sought-after motivational speaker who travels the world sharing his story and his philosophy. And here's what his philosophy is. Man becomes what he thinks. The power of beliefs is not about force or might. It's not about me controlling or manipulating someone else. Because our good never depends on others. Our life mirrors our thoughts and our beliefs. So if you want to know what you believe and what you've been thinking, take a survey of your life. we become. Our life becomes what we think and believe in the most. Sometimes unity is hard for a lot of people because it takes the responsibility off everything else and puts it where? Right on me. I was Catholic. Did things wrong? That's okay. Go to confession, wipe it clean. I'd be good for a few days and then go back and start doing the same thing again. In unity, we know. Doesn't work that way. No. It's not going to change until I change me. Like the little engine that could, like the miracle mile runner, like the miracle man, anything and everything is possible through the power of belief. So this week, you are going to start noticing what beliefs are making you miserable. You started a little bit here this morning, I could feel it. But when you're having a bad day, when somebody's really bugging you, stop and say, okay, what's my belief? What's my belief that's causing this to bother me? And then choose to change it. So we have 2 tools in unity that we do this with. And the first one is denial. Dan, would you put that up? So, we say no person or condition has power over my life. I want you to think to yourself of a person or a condition in your life, and let's affirm this 3 times together. No person or condition has power over my life. Again, no person or condition has power over my life. Say it like you mean it. No person or condition has power over my life. You got it. Now, when I get through, we have cards we're passing out with this on it. Now, the next thing you do, as soon as you deny something, what you do is you leave a big space in there, so you got to fill it up with something good. Otherwise, something negative is going to come back in. We affirm the affirmation, Dan. I'll read it once. Divine power is moving through me now, uplifting and changing my life. 3 times together. Divine power is moving through me now, uplifting and changing my life. Again, divine power is moving through me now, uplifting me and changing my life like you mean it. Divine power is moving through me now, uplifting me and changing my life. Close your eyes, take a breath. Breathe it in and know that the power of belief makes that much difference in your life. God bless you.
I am healthy and whole, my body is sacred. I create the conditions of wellness within. I am healthy and whole, my body is sacred.